Hi there, it's real estate coach Josh Vegan and welcome to this week's coaching tip. You see, I've been doing a lot of work over in the UK and we've been working with a guy by the name of Peter Knight from the Property Academy. And one of the things that Pete and I were talking about is that we drew a triangle and we're talking about how the market's rapidly changed. And in that triangle, we decided to add a few words, and it was like the price, quality, and time triangle. And it's really interesting because when we had a look at that, we started to think about where things happen. So let's say, for example, that you really wanted to get a cheap price. Well, in order to have a cheap price, you either have to sacrifice either the quality or the speed. And so let's think about it. Let's say you have a look at McDonald's. They want to offer a cheap price and really quick on speed. So in order to be able to do those two, they have to sacrifice quality of the product. And so this is really important for you to start to think about, is that inside of the real estate industry, it's exactly the same. So we've seen a lot of feed discounters enter the industry. And at the same time, we've also seen neighbouring countries like New Zealand almost be in a position where everyone just charges 3.95%, which is significantly higher than what's happening in the Australian marketplace. So why is that? Well, it's not because there's any fixed fee regulation in New Zealand. It's ultimately because they actually understand their value. And that if you're going to be delivering a quality service in a really quick time, you need to actually charge the right price for that. And this is the problem with a lot of people, is that they don't really understand what they're doing and they're trying to deliver all three at exactly the same time, which is actually impossible because you can't be quick, be high quality and cheap on price, because ultimately to get to high quality, there's a price point associated. But to get the speed out of that quality, you're going to need additional people or additional resources in order to make that happen. So this is important when you're starting to think about what you do. See, when we see fixed fee-based agencies, the challenge with them is that they're actually trying to negotiate on price. In other words, much cheaper to use us compared to your competitors. But here's the difference, is that what are they going to compromise on? Is it going to be the speed of transaction, or is it going to be the quality of what it is that they do? Now, if they're going to deliver quality at a cheap price, then the speed of the transaction is going to be affected. But there's no likelihood that they're going to be able to do that. So what they're ultimately going to look at is price and speed, but they're actually not going to have the quality in the transaction. And that quality is the training base that they use, what they do from a negotiation perspective, the types of systems that they have in place, the quality of the marketing that they do. And when that quality of the marketing actually gets affected, then all of a sudden we're in a position that we don't have the quality of the database, the amount of cross-selling that goes on, the number of offices, all of the things that are actually required to significantly increase the skill base. And see, the challenge with a lot of those people is they're actually running their businesses out of home. No problem with that, except when you go to train the next rung of agents. And when you start thinking about what that does to actually affect the culture in training the next junior agent that's coming through to being a senior agent, where do people get the benefit of negotiation training, the quality of the dialogue, learning what forms to use, and learning what checklists to use to be a much, much better agent? So here's the question. When you're thinking about the brand positioning and what it is that you do, what are you doing in relation to pricing, of how you actually price your services in the marketplace? What are you doing to the quality that you deliver? And most importantly, what are you doing to the speed? And ultimately, that's critically important. You want to make sure that you know exactly where you're positioning yourself and you're quite deliberate around your pricing so you can be really clear about what it is that you deliver to the marketplace. So think price, speed, and quality. Which are the two that you're aiming to deliver? And then be very clear and very deliberate around which one you're actually going to compromise on in order to deliver the other two. If you do that, you're going to set your brand up for significant success in the marketplace. Really look forward to seeing you next week.